nominate Honorable Tajuddin Abbas.
I so second.
I rise to humbly accept the nomination.
Is hereby declared the winner and returned elected as the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Our agenda encompasses a range of 8 critical issues.
House unveils its legislative agenda.
The House deeply worried that the unfortunate event and diplomatic slight of Nigeria happened even when the President of the Federal Government of Nigeria was there.
And House calls for inquiry into the cancellation of visas for 264 Nigerians in Saudi Arabia. It's good to have you join us again on another fresh package of the legislative program House Tickets. I am your regular anchor, Dihelia Mamza. The 10th House has unveiled its legislative agenda in a ceremony that attracted the President of the Senate, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, members of the international communities, amongst a host of other dignitaries. Details of this event make up part of this episode of our program. In other reports, we have highlights of bills, motions and matters of urgent national importance considered, passed and adopted by the 10th House in the last 1 week. Join us again after this break for details of these stories and more. Please stay tuned.
The House will pay priority attention to participatory budgeting process and delivery, law reform, electoral reform, women's participation and inclusion in governance, among others.
Thanks for staying tuned. On Thursday, 16th November 2023, the House was to host the military service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police over the commencement of sectorial debates on issues of national importance.
I rise to move that the House, pursuant to Order 21, Rule 8.2 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, do admit into the chamber the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff, Inspector General of Police, and their entourage for the purpose of sectoral debates on issues of national importance. I so move.
However, the service chiefs only sent their representatives, causing the House to take decision to commence the debate when the service chiefs are physically present.
Mr. Speaker, I want to move that as it has been the tradition of this House, when we invite chief executives, be it private sector or public sector, they must come in person. I want to pray that we don't break this sacred tradition of our House, lest we be taken for granted. I therefore move that this sectorial engagement be suspended until the leaders of these agencies that we invited, who are our friends, who are working for Nigeria, who we are proud of, until they come to address us, take our questions, explain certain things to us.
Are we all in agreement that such an important engagement should be done by their number ones? Yes. Please, you can sit down. Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Our dear brothers, you have heard from the House in an emphatic manner that this House does not encourage, does not accept representation, particularly at this high-level engagement. We thank you for coming. Please convey our message to your service chiefs that we understand the tight schedules they have, and we're willing to make an adjustment to reschedule this engagement.
For a summary of other events and activities that transpired during plenary last week, let's take our next report as compiled and presented from our studio.
To defend our unity and uphold our honor and glory. So help me God.
The House, during plenary on Tuesday, 14th November 2023, hosted some members of the Ghanaian Parliament who were in Nigeria for the purpose of monitoring the plenary proceedings of the House of Representatives of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The House Leader, Professor Julius Ihonvere, moved a motion to usher the lawmakers into the chamber.
Pursuant to Order 21, Rule 8, 1, 11 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, do admit into the chamber members of the Ghanaian Parliament for the purpose of observing the proceedings of plenary. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The House informed that Saudi Arabia authorities cancelled the visa.
Moving on, the House entertained several matters of urgent public importance, one of which was moved by Representative Kama Nkem Kama, alongside 3 other lawmakers, on the urgent call for inquiry into the cancellation of visas for 264 Nigerian travelers who arrived in Saudi Arabia.
The House, conscious of the fact that this action of Saudi authorities is an infringement on the letters and intendment of the bilateral air service between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia, which is still in force. The House, deeply worried that the unfortunate event and diplomatic slight on Nigeria happened even when the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was there. His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, is on a state visit to Saudi Arabia.
In his prayers, the lawmaker strongly condemned the act and asked Saudi Arabia to take diplomatic steps to protect the Nigerian traveling public and save the relationship between the two countries. He further called on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other related agencies to ensure compliance.
Those in support of this motion should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted and referred to the House Committee on Diaspora, Foreign Affairs as well as that on Pilgrims Affairs.
Ayes have it.
Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Nigeria's in Diaspora Commission.
Another matter of urgent public importance that came up during plenary on the same day was a call on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Diaspora Agency to investigate circumstances surrounding the death of Mr. Chibuike Emmanuel, a Nigerian medical student in the Philippines. It was moved by Representative Mudashiru Lukman.
It was alleged that Mr. Chibuike Emmanuel met his untimely death in Madue City, Philippines, where he had gone to demand the payment of a commission due to his girlfriend, Ms. Diani, from the company she worked with. The matter escalated into heated argument among Mr. Emmanuel and his girlfriend, Ms. Diani, and the head of the company, a Chinese woman named Ms. Jenny Wa, offered the said commission. Further aware that following the altercation, 2 vehicles arrived at the premises, and the occupant of the vehicle claimed they were taking Mr. Chibuike Emmanuel to the police station for constituting nuisance. They are also cognizant that it was later discovered that Mr. Emmanuel's girlfriend and his friend that Mr. Chibuike Emmanuel was not talking to the police station as claimed. It was alleged that a bus dropped Mr. Emmanuel off in front of the police station with his hand tied, visible injury on his face. Unfortunately, Mr. Emmanuel was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital.
His prayer was a call on the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, Human Rights as well as that on Diaspora to investigate the matter.
Those in support of this motion should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted and referred to the House Committee on Foreign Affairs as well as that on Diaspora.
I rise today to raise this.
Moving on to motions on the order paper, Representative Bashiru Daudu moved a motion on need to create awareness programs for persons with disability.
The Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, tasked with promoting and educating the public about the rights and inclusion of persons with disabilities is ineffective. Further worried that 23 states of the Federation are yet to demonstrate the laws in their states, and further worried that discrimination, stigmatization, and non-inclusion continue both in the private and public sectors.
The resolutions taken on the motion were: urge the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation and religious organizations to sensitize the public about the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. Also urge states of the Federation of Nigeria to domesticate the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition law in their states, and mandate the Committee on Disabilities to ensure compliance.
Those in support of this motion should say aye.
The motion was voted on, adopted, and referred to the House Committee on Disabilities.
I rise to move a motion.
Still on motions, the need to investigate the career stagnation caused by discrimination between Higher National Diploma (HND) and bachelor degree holders in the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps was a motion considered and adopted by the House. It was moved by Representative Basi Okon.
The House observes that in developed nations, HND and degree holders are employed at the same grade level, prioritizing competence and cognitive experience, unlike Nigeria's emphasis on status and paper qualifications. Furthermore, the United Kingdom polytechnic system has transitioned into universities as degree awarding institutions, but the Nigerian education system still hinders the advancement and self-reliance of polytechnic education.
The resolutions on the motion were: urge the head of service to comply with all existing circulars abrogating the dichotomy between HND and BSc in the civil service. Also urge the Commandant General of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) to promote all qualified personnel and pay the arrears of emoluments they might have been lost as a result of the failure of the NSCDC to promote them as at when due, and mandate the Committees on Public Service Matters and Interior to investigate the failure to promote certain officers despite writing and passing their promotional examinations on 4 different occasions, and invite the Commandant General of the NSCDC to explain his failure to comply with the Board and Ministry's approval on the abolition of the HND and BSc dichotomy, like its counterpart under the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, Fire Immigration and Prisons Board.
I think it is something that we need to really debate.
Several lawmakers made contributions to the motion.
The second paragraph, which says, also notes that in terms of academic discipline, the HND holders outperform BSc holders in practical aspects, as 70% of learning in polytechnics is practical, aiming to equip graduates with technical knowledge for self-reliance. Mr. Speaker, I move that this aspect be expunged because it doesn't have any proof of such assertion.
We cannot expunge, according to him, letters in the body of the presentation of a motion. If it was one of the prayers in the body among the prayers of the motion, we can say under amendment expunge these or add that. So I would have thought that in the course of his debate, contribution to this conversation, he can lead a debate on that issue, on the disparity as per the outcome of the performance of both HND and BSc holders.
I think it is something that we need to really debate on whether our jurisdiction extends beyond prayers to even making corrections on the body of the motions.
Paragraph 2 of the motion contending that there is nothing to confirm the assertion here. Mr. Speaker, my position is that we all know that polytechnics are practical based. The way education in the polytechnic is addressed is purely for practicals as against the universities. And that is the point that we are trying to make here.
I'm not a HND holder, but I even think that opinion is just factual. HND is more of a practical study. And so if you say somebody with HND is better in practical than somebody with BSc, it's not offensive at all. Conversely, those with BSc are better in theoretical knowledge than those with HND. It's like saying that a mechanic is more knowledgeable in mechanical works in vehicle than an electrician who is more knowledgeable in electrical works. So I don't think it's offensive.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Public Service Matters and Interior.
Away from motions to bills, the House saw the second reading of a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Itembende, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters. The bill stood in the name of the Deputy Speaker, Representative Benjamin Okezie Kalu, alongside 6 other lawmakers. The debate was led by Representative Oluwole Oke, who is one of the co-sponsors of the bill.
We all are aware of the mass exodus of health sector professionals out of this country seeking greener pasture. Mr. Speaker, if we do not provide means to bake, to produce professionals in this sector, God forbid, one day we might be looking, we might also be importing health professionals from other countries.
The bill was referred to the House Committee on University Education. Several bills were presented for first reading. They include Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 Act Alteration Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Suleiman Abubakar Gumi, Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria Act Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Onyime Idem Josiah, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Kafilat Ogbara, Federal Cancer Research and Treatment Center Abeokuta Ogun State Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Mukhtar Tolani Shagaya, Federal University of Agriculture Ningi Bauchi State Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Adamu Hashimu, Critical Infrastructure Protection Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative Paul Sunday Nnamchi. The House also passed 5 bills at third reading. They include a bill for an act to establish the Institute of Economists of Nigerian Empowered with the responsibility to determine and regulate the standards of knowledge, skills and qualification of persons seeking to become professional economists in Nigeria and for related matters. A bill for an act to amend the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria 2004 and for related matters. A bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act to establish Federal Medical Center Ovia and Delta State and for related matters, and a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Business Administration of Nigeria, charged with the responsibility for advancing the study, training and determining the standards of knowledge and skills to be attained by persons seeking to become registered members of the institute and for related matters.
First,
we will do our best to amend the law.
proper bills that will move our country forward.
This country needs to come together.
Nigeria will expect a very resolute House of Assembly.
If you just joined us, the program is House Ticket, a weekly legislative program on the activities and events of your lawmakers at the Green Chamber, coming your way on the parliamentary channel of the NTA. We've been reviewing some of the activities of your lawmakers during plenary proceedings in the last 1 week. Our next segment will bring you the unveiling of the legislative agenda for the 10th House of Representatives by Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin. Please stay tuned for details.
The ceremony, which held on Tuesday, the 14th of November 2023, had in attendance the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, the Deputy British High Commissioner to Nigeria Development, Chris Pycroft, principal officers of the House, development partners and international community, among many other invited guests.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you.
While making his speech at the occasion, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, assured President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the commitment of the 10th House under his leadership to partner with the current administration on the successful implementation of the Renewed Hope agenda.
We recognize the diverse needs and challenges currently facing our nation. Despite this, we are optimistic that together with His Excellency President Bola Nat'l will provide long-lasting solutions to set Nigeria on the sure path of development. Our agenda encompasses a range of 8 critical issues designed to provide the necessary legislative support to the 8-point agenda of the executive.
The Speaker also mandated all standing committees to integrate the agenda in their respective work plans, while urging members of the House to ensure that legislative proposals, including bills and motions, are in line with the provision of the agenda.
Members should also ensure that legislative proposals are in line with the provision of this agenda. The adopted structure indicates short, medium, long-term milestones and key performance indicators to track progress easily. The implementation framework is designed to allow for flexibility in responding to emerging issues or crises.
Speaker Abbas commended the efforts of the ad hoc Committee on Legislative Agenda, chaired by the Leader of the House, Representative Julius Ihovere, which drafted the document, while appreciating technical partners, notably Policy and Legal Advocacy Center PLAC and Yaga Africa, for their support. Invited guests, partners from the local and international communities, gave their goodwill messages during the ceremony.
We have wrapped this agenda around issues germane and crucial to our national development. And you have committed yourselves to supporting the executive arm of government, led by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to succeed in the Renewed Hope agenda. In doing this, you have justified the confidence reposed in you by the good people of Nigeria. When your constituents elected you, they had faith that we have what it takes to be one of the builders of a new nation.
As a current member of the executive who has also served in the legislature, I am aware that the successful implementation of this legislative agenda will rank the 10th House of Representatives under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajudeen Abbas, and a very high pedestal of accomplishments and performance when stock taking is done in 2027. I therefore urge you to ensure diligent and timely implementation. On the part of the executive and of government, I wish to assure you of our commitment to partnership and collaboration with the National Assembly as a whole, and the House of Representatives in particular, as we discharge the duties of legislating for good governance and in carrying out your oversight functions.
The UK is proud of our valued partnership with the House of Representatives. We are committed to supporting Nigeria's democracy as it goes from strength to strength.
The high point of the ceremony was the formal unveiling of the agenda by the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio.
That's it on House Ticket for today. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Do not forget to keep your questions, comments and observations coming in through our social media platforms currently showing on your screens. Let's do this again next week on the Parliamentary channel of the NTA. Remember to stay safe always. Bye-bye.